Sorry, honey. Mom said that morning, voice flat. We're not doing your birthday this year. Your brother's still sensitive about last weekend. I blinked. Sensitive? You mean because of my grades? Dad looked up from his newspaper, without guilt. He needs attention right now, not you. Be mature about it. 17 candles, gone with one sentence. My name is Haley Monroe. I'm 17, and that night, while my brother blew out candles meant for me, I quietly packed my backpack, my savings jar, and my worn-out sketchbook. They called him the Golden Boy. Straight-A student, football captain, center of every family photo. I was the shadow beside him, the creative one, which in my house meant the disappointment. When they refused to celebrate me because he didn't feel special enough, something inside me snapped. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just waited until they fell asleep, slipped out the door, and took a bus to the city. That first night was terrifying. Cold air, empty streets, the hum of neon lights against loneliness. But it was also the first night I could finally breathe. I worked part-time at a bakery, drew portraits in parks, and slept on couches of people who barely knew me. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. And every sketch I drew carried the same quiet promise: I'll never let anyone make me small again. By the time I turned 18, I'd built something real, a small art studio, a growing social page, clients who paid to see the world through my eyes. But then, a year later, I got a message from Mom. Your brother saw your post. He's not handling it well. I didn't know it then, but his meltdown would break the family forever. The message came late at night, a long text filled with half apologies and backhanded guilt. Haley, you know how your brother gets. You shouldn't flaunt your success online. It makes him feel bad. Flaunt? I'd posted a photo of my first studio, a rented space barely bigger than a closet, filled with paint, sketches, and a single flickering lamp. But to them, my joy was a threat. I ignored it. The next morning, my phone blew up. Missed calls, group chat messages, a voicemail from my brother, Liam. You think you're better than everyone now? Mom cries every day because of you. You abandoned us, Haley. Abandoned? The word made me laugh bitterly. I'd been invisible for years, abandoned long before I ever left. Later that week, I got an unexpected visitor at my studio. My Aunt Clara, Mom's older sister. She walked in quietly, looking around at the art on the walls. Bold, emotional, nothing like the beige politeness of our family home. She smiled. You did this all on your own? I nodded. Every brushstroke. Clara's eyes softened. Your mother's worried. Liam's been spiraling, skipping work, drinking, blaming you for everything. There was again the family pattern. When he failed, I was the scapegoat. I wiped paint from my fingers and said evenly, maybe it's time he faces what he's built. Clara hesitated. They don't understand you, Haley. But I do. Don't go back yet. Let them come to you. Her words stuck with me. Because for the first time, someone from that family didn't ask me to shrink. She asked me to stand still and let the truth come knocking. And when it did, it came louder than I ever imagined. The next weekend, the tension exploded. I was working late when my phone buzzed with 27 missed calls from home. Aunt Clara's voice cracked on the voicemail. Haley, he's losing control. He's smashed Dad's car. Please come if you can. I drove back to that house for the first time in a year. The porch light glared like judgment. Inside, the smell of cheap whiskey and broken pride hung heavy. Liam sat at the kitchen table, head in his hands, knuckles bloody from punching the wall. Mom stood behind him, trembling. He saw your article, she whispered. The one about turning struggle into art. He thinks you mocked him. I looked at my brother, the same boy they'd worshipped, the one who'd never been told no. I didn't mock you, I said quietly. I survived you. He looked up, eyes red. You ruined everything. You made them love you. For a second, I almost felt sorry for him. Then Dad stormed in, shouting at me for provoking Liam, the family's reflex. Protect the golden boy, blame the girl. But this time, I didn't shrink. I walked past them, grabbed the torn newspaper from the counter, and pointed to my quote. The ones you silence often end up speaking the loudest. I didn't write that for you, I said. But if the shoe fits, wear it. The kitchen fell silent. Only the clock ticked, steady and merciless. I left the same way I had a year before, this time with my head high and my keys in my hand. Behind me, Liam screamed my name, but I didn't turn around. Because I finally understood. I wasn't their scapegoat anymore. I was their mirror. 3 days later, the fallout began. My brother's meltdown at home didn't stay private for long. He'd live-streamed part of it on social media, ranting about how I'd stolen everything from him. Within hours, it went viral. Not because people pitied him, but because everyone could see the truth. In the background of that shaky video, my mom's words were caught on audio. Haley should have never been born. She ruins everything she touches. That single sentence shattered whatever mask my parents had left. Old friends from town commented beneath the clip. So now everyone sees how they treated her. I always knew that family was twisted. The sympathy poured in, but it didn't feel sweet. It felt raw. Vindication never truly heals. It just exposes what was already rotting. Aunt Clara called again. Your mom's humiliated. Your dad's furious. Liam's vanished. Nobody's heard from him since the video. I stared at the paint drying on my latest canvas, a storm swirling around a single open window. It's not my fault anymore, I said quietly. No, Clara replied, but you're the only one who can end it right. I didn't know what right meant anymore. But that night, I posted a single statement on my art page. To the people who raised me, I forgive you, but I will never come back. Thousands of comments followed, from strangers, artists, survivors of toxic families. For the first time, I wasn't alone in my pain. And deep down, I knew this wasn't just about me or them anymore. This was about choosing peace, even when your family feeds on chaos. And peace, I realized, was something they'd never taught me to want, but I was learning. A week later, I got a knock on my studio door. When I opened it, Liam stood there, thinner, unshaven, trembling. The golden boy looked like a ghost of his own spotlight. Can we talk? He muttered, eyes darting to the floor. For a second, I froze. Old habits kicked in, fear, guilt, caution. But I moved aside. 5 minutes, I said. He stepped in, staring at the canvases covering the walls. Color, chaos, healing. So this is where you went, he whispered. This is where I found myself, I corrected. He nodded slowly. I watched your interviews. You're doing well. His voice cracked. I'm not. For the first time in our lives, Liam wasn't performing. He was just human. Broken in all the ways I used to be. I didn't mean what I said online, he continued. I was angry. They made me believe you took everything. I leaned against the counter. You let them make you believe that. He flinched. Then quietly, I know. We stood in silence for a long time. Then he said the words I never expected. I think Mom and Dad are scared now. They don't know how to exist without controlling someone. I sighed. They'll have to learn. Before leaving, he pulled something from his pocket, a photo of us as kids, covered in paint after we'd ruined Dad's car with our art project. I kept it, he said softly. When the door closed behind him, I sat on the floor, staring at that photo. 2 kids who once laughed without conditions. Maybe that version of us was gone. But maybe, just maybe, the version that comes next could finally be free of them both. Days passed, and the chaos slowly dulled into quiet. My parents hadn't called, hadn't texted, hadn't tried to fix the mess. For once, their silence wasn't control. It was consequence. But one evening, my phone buzzed with a message I didn't expect. From Mom. Haley, we've lost everything. Your father's business collapsed. Liam's gone to therapy. I'm proud of you, I guess. I don't know how to say this right. I stared at those words for a long time, proud of you. 3 words I'd begged for as a child, now arriving years too late. I typed, deleted, retyped. Then finally replied, I hope you both find peace. I already have. No anger. No lecture. Just truth. That night, I visited the art show that had launched my career, the same gallery that once refused to even look at my work. The director greeted me with open arms. Haley, critics loved your new piece. Inheritance, right? I smiled.
Yeah.
It's about what we take with us and what we leave behind. The painting hung in the center of the room, a table set for a birthday that never happened, candles burning down to wax, a single chair pulled away from the table. Underneath, a small plaque read, "For the girl who wasn't invited." People stopped and stared. Some cried quietly. And in that moment, I felt something shift. My story wasn't pain anymore. It was art. Before leaving, I got another text. This one from Liam. "Thanks for not hating me." I smiled through a slow exhale. I never did. I just stopped needing your approval. And that simple truth, that peace, felt louder than every scream that ever came before it. 2 months later, the world felt different. Not because my past disappeared, but because it no longer defined me. I'd been invited to speak at an art therapy convention in Chicago, something I never thought I'd be brave enough to do. Standing backstage, I looked down at my trembling hands and thought of the girl who once painted in secret under a flickering lamp, afraid her parents would call it a waste of time. Now, that same girl was about to tell hundreds of people that survival is its own kind of masterpiece. When my name was called, I stepped up to the microphone. "My parents didn't celebrate my 17th birthday," I began. "They said my brother needed the attention more. I used to believe that meant I wasn't enough. But I learned something. Sometimes rejection is just the world redirecting you toward yourself." The room went silent, not out of pity, but connection. After the speech, people lined up to thank me. Women, men, even a quiet teenage girl clutching her sketchbook. "You made me want to draw again," she whispered. That night, back in my hotel room, I opened my inbox to find an email from Aunt Clara. "Your parents are moving out of town. They're quieter now. Your mom asked me to tell you. She keeps one of your paintings in her kitchen. She says it helps her remember who she lost." For a moment, I didn't know whether to cry or smile. Maybe both. Because for the first time, I realized forgiveness doesn't mean opening old doors. It means locking them gently and hanging a painting over the place where they used to hurt. And that, I thought, was my real inheritance. A year later, I hosted my own gallery exhibition, my biggest one yet. The theme, "Golden Doesn't Mean Good." Each canvas told a story of broken families, invisible daughters, and quiet resilience. People walked through in silence, moved by colors that once came from my own bruises. In the corner hung one final piece, a simple portrait of two siblings as children, laughing under a summer sky. The title read, "Before They Told Us Who to Be." The crowd lingered their longest. As the night wound down, Aunt Clara arrived, smiling proudly. "I think your dad would have come if he could face himself," she said softly. I nodded. "Maybe one day." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a small note, and signed, "Happy birthday, Haley. I watched your interview. You were right, love shouldn't need permission. Mom." I stared at the handwriting, shaky, uncertain, human. Then I folded it and placed it in my journal beside the first dollar I ever earned for my art. Later that evening, I stepped outside onto the balcony overlooking the glowing city. My reflection shimmered faintly against the glass. No longer the forgotten daughter, no longer the runaway girl.
Just me.
The hum of the city below felt like applause for every quiet victory I'd ever had to celebrate alone. I whispered to the night, "I made it, Dad. I made it, even without them." And for the first time, I didn't feel angry or empty or even proud. I just felt whole. Because healing isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were always right to walk away. And this time, I wasn't walking away from family. I was walking toward peace.